Welcome back to Plants Not Plastic. I'm Nikita, and today we're making some delicious and classic blueberry muffins. I had a friend ask me the other day what the most difficult recipe has been for my channel so far, and without missing a beat, this one was my answer. Not because this recipe itself is difficult to make. It's actually hilariously easy to make compared to all my failures and comes out moist, sweet, and super tasty. But getting to this point took multiple iterations, and I think I've eaten at least half a dozen batches of a version of these muffins in the last few months, playing with the ratio of liquid, blueberries, and baking powder, and even attempting a sugar crumble topping. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I've been saying for almost as long that this recipe is coming. This is even my third time shooting the recipe for the channel, and I have some evidence to prove it. But through all that struggle and all that consumption of oat flour and blueberries, today is the day that I've finally got a simple, gluten-free blueberry muffin recipe for you that is consistently good. You can also easily turn these into a loaf, and I'll share the details on that as well. So here's everything you'll need to make this recipe. I'll also leave everything in the description box below, along with a link to the blog post with some bright and yummy photos and a printable recipe card. As with all baked goods, you'll be mixing together your wet ingredients and your dry ingredients separately and mixing them together to make your batter. In a medium mixing bowl, you'll add your oat flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt, and mix everything together. You can also skip the sugar if you're avoiding it because the wet ingredients and blueberries will add their own sweetness. Next, you'll pull out your blender, try to block your husband from the frame, and then follow him around the kitchen impatiently while he prepares his breakfast before dropping your apples into the blender, rough chopped with a wee bit of water, struggle to get the lid on, and then spin it really quickly to make your own version of applesauce. You do want a full 16 ounces or 2 cups of liquid for your recipe, so after you've blended your apples, add more water if needed. You can also just use 2 cups of pre-made applesauce or 3 ripe bananas in place of the apples, but keep in mind that banana will add some banana flavor to your muffins. Pour your applesauce into the mixing bowl along with the lemon juice and vanilla extract and mix well, making sure you scrape up and mix in any dry ingredients hiding on the bottom of the bowl. I now preheat my oven and let my batter rest during the oven preheating period to thicken before I add my blueberries. Letting the batter thicken prevents your blueberries from sinking to the bottom while your muffins are baking. Next, you'll gently fold in your blueberries and then distribute your batter evenly into your non-stick muffin pan. I'll note here that I use fresh blueberries rather than frozen purely for aesthetics. Frozen blueberries tend to bleed and it can turn your batter gray as you're mixing, which obviously doesn't affect the overall flavor, but it does make the muffins a bit ugly and potentially off-putting if you're sharing them with others, or potentially beneficial if you want them all for yourself. I also use a 1/3 cup measuring cup as I find that's the perfect size to get my batter mostly even in my pan, but this may vary depending on the pan you're using. And now we are ready, set, bake! Feel free to lick your utensils because all these ingredients can be eaten raw and are too tasty to waste, and then bake your muffins for 24 to 32 minutes or until a toothpick, fork, or knife comes out of the center of a middle muffin mostly clean. If you're going the loaf route, pour all the batter into an 8x4 or 9x5 inch loaf pan and bake it for 50 minutes until it's cooked through. Since we haven't used cooking oil or paper liners in our muffin pan, you will want to let them cool before trying to remove them from their tins, but I promise you can get them out in one piece. As they cool, they deflate slightly and unstick themselves from the sides of their tin on their own, and they just need a gentle and concentrated extraction from you. And now we're ready to split one open and bite into it for a taste test. This recipe is sweet from the apple batter base, tart from the blueberries, chewy yet crumbly, and absolutely delicious. Even through all my failed attempts and having eaten, over 60 muffins in the last few months, you'll still find me making this recipe regularly because it's just that good. For how it stacks up against an alternative, you can check out the full nutrition label on the blog that links out to Chronometer. This recipe, though, is the same as all my others. When comparing it to a non-vegan or vegan processed option, without specialty items or animal products, it will cost you less to make. With plant-based ingredients, it'll have more fiber, and without oil or butter, you'll get to eat more of it for the same number of calories. So that's it for today's recipe. If you try it out, let me know in the comments. You can also subscribe to my blog for recipes right to your inbox and connect with me on social media for day-to-day content. Also, if you've got a recipe idea, let me know that as well, because I am always looking for new ideas. And don't forget to subscribe, click the bell, give this video a thumbs up, and come back next time. Bye!